I want to know, how do you fight with a narcissist and win? Like, is there any winning in getting, like, these narcissists, you know, when they come for you, it seems impossible. How do you get them? How do you win against them? Is there any way?
You know, Andy, it depends on what you're calling a win here, right?
Okay.
I mean, there's wins and there's wins.
I want to hurt them.
Right, you want to hurt them. Okay.
Somebody going to cue me or do I cue myself?
Cue yourself.
Okay.
Oh, this is another live episode of Let's Talk Off Camera. Jan Albert, everyone, I have been wanting to do this episode for such a long time.
Since day one.
It's since day one. I've been saying we need to do this episode. Everyone needs to listen up. If you are driving, you should probably pull over. You're going to need this one. This is we are giving you effective, useful therapy right before Thanksgiving, right before you're really going to need it, everyone. All right. But before we get to our guest, Lisa, who is Andy Cohen's producer, is back from BravoCon.
Wow.
Now, I think it's appropriate that we are covering the topic of narcissism today because something tells me, Lisa, that you may, confirm or deny, may have encountered a narcissist or two.
One or two.
One or two. Yeah. One or two. Okay, how was BravoCon? It looks bigger and better than ever.
It's massive. I was telling Albert that the last one I went to was in 2022 when it was here in New York. And this is like that on steroids.
Right. It's
like,
Vegas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Vegas is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're built for the Wilds conventions.
Exactly.
Okay, so which housewives did you see? Who was like, of all the people that you had to encounter, who was the one? Or you can just give me what fruit do they hold? Okay. Like, who was the biggest pain in the ass?
Oh my gosh. Biggest pain in the ass. I wouldn't say it was a housewife who was the biggest pain in the ass. And not even pain in the ass, like the ick factor.
Yeah, who was the ick?
It was definitely Slade Smiley.
How was Gretchen in person?
Gretchen seemed lovely, and she looked great, you know, in the bright lights on the blue carpet, which was in the press room. You know, Slade was sitting over there supporting her, and so I went over to him.
Yeah.
That might have been my fault.
Right.
But I went over and said, oh, you know, we just think it's so nice just watching you, supporting her. And he says to me, it's not like I have much of a choice.
Oh, that's nice.
Slade.
Oh my gosh.
So I
Salty
said,
Slade.
Oh, no.
Wow, maybe he's tired. Maybe he needs a nap. Were the Jersey housewives there?
There was Dolores, fresh off of her engagement at the Apple store.
Did you know she got engaged at the Apple store?
I didn't know it was at the Apple store. No, I did not. You know what? It's everything is in my feed now. My feed is like I said,
Apple store.
The Apple store, right? Nothing
Romance.
says romance like the what are they called? Computer nerds. The computer. The geek
The Genius Bar.
The Genius
Yeah,
Bar.
yeah, the Genius Bar.
Did she
call
say
it the
I do?
Nerd bar. Yes.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Teresa was there, and Melissa and Joe Gorga. And I would say the big news is there was a reconciliation.
Okay.
Teresa, I did see her hug her brother.
Okay.
And she did pose for photos with Melissa. So I can't say the last time they've been seen in the same place as one another.
Wow.
So yeah.
Were there any feuds? Anybody feuding?
There were definitely some feuds. The big one that's come out within the last 24 hours is between Madison LaCroix from Southern Charm and Cy DeSilva from New York.
Right. And what's that about?
Madison saying that Cy is, you know, basically the worst person she's ever met. And Cy's rebuttal saying, I don't even know you. We've never met. And then Madison showing a photo of the two of them from 2 years ago at BravoCon sitting next to each other. So, you know, real substantial stuff here.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it's a war based on something substantial, like a photo and somebody not remembering the other person.
Yes. But I would say, okay, so I had that Slade encounter. But then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, John Barlow, Lisa Barlow's husband, is the nicest man.
Wow.
The nicest human.
Wow.
Yeah. So what is he doing with her? Sorry.
He celebrated his birthday there.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Just lovely.
Here's my question.
Yes.
So on Salt Lake City, it was insinuated. Well, not insinuated. They kind of said it that Heather Gay had hooked up with that Captain Jason. Remember that cute Captain Jason from Below Deck.
Right.
Like, did we see were they like together?
There's definitely some footage of them on a panel sitting next to each other, very cozy, and she's rubbing his knee. So,
Right.
I mean, I've known Andy for a long time. You won't catch me rubbing his knee. Like,
Right.
You know, so.
I've rubbed Andy's knee now. I'm very tactile with Andy. I am. I would rub his knee, which is says everything you need to know. But what I want to know is here's the stat I want. I want this stat. I want to know the hair extension budget just for BravoCon alone.
Forget it.
I want to know because I watch all season long and then I watch the reunions, and there's always like a hair transformation on everyone from this. It's like they figured out how they went wrong during the season and they fix it at the reunion. And by fixing it, I mean they have cascading hair weaved all over the place. And then you go to BravoCon and I'm like, so then they watched the reunion and then they were like, I didn't have enough hair at the reunion. And so for BravoCon, I'm going to get
add
more
some.
hair. It's really like
Those are the unsung heroes, the hair and makeup team, for sure.
they really are.
Where were the after hours? And where was everybody
Yeah,
staying?
yeah.
So-
And how late was that going?
So all the Bravo Labs were staying at the Four Seasons. And
la-di-da.
definitely night one, Thursday night, there was an after party there that I've heard some people were out and up until 5 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was going all night long. I'm surprised there hasn't been more leaked footage from it.
Oh my
That's
God.
what I really want to
Sure,
see.
everybody was hooking up with everybody.
Did anybody not go back
Such,
to their
like,
room that
good-looking
night?
people.
I would say, if we're gonna, I can speculate. If I'm gonna speculate with,
speculate.
I would say that definitely the guys from Southern Charm didn't go back to their room every night.
Oh my God.
Right.
That Craig is single now, right? He
Yes.
was a hot commodity there where
He's
all the
single,
girls all over him.
and he's letting his hair grow like Andy's.
Right. Yes. Right. Like Andy's.
Luscious.
I love Andy's hair, by the way. I
Yes.
think he looks like the Marlon Brando character in Superman. Like Jor-El,
yeah.
Superman's dad, Jor-El. Where like he had this cascading. Marlon Brando was clearly wearing a wig, and Andy is not. But it's very reminiscent of. He's got Superman hair.
Yes.
Yep, I love it. Did you?
Jor-El,
find the
yeah,
picture?
Jor-El.
It's Jor-El.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you see the picture?
No,
You got to.
hold on, let me-
You got to Google image it.
You know who else is growing his hair out that it was at the BravoCon? What's going on with Jerry O'Connell?
Jerry O'Connell's hair is wild. I've got it. I'm going to call him. I actually meant to call him and say, "Babe, what's happening?"
There's a
I
lot
know,
of hair.
I know. He's like, I'm not working right now. I can do whatever I want. I'm in California. I'm going to go for it. But I'm like, no. Now there's too much hair. Now like there's devil may care hair, and then there's just like devilish hair.
I want to know where he gets all his energy from.
He's just the best person.
He really is.
Jerry O'Connell, I'm
Yes.
going to say it. I've said it before. I will say it again. He is the best person. You want to know who's not a narcissist? Jerry O'Connell.
That's right.
Jerry O'Connell is the opposite of a narcissist.
While I was running back to the media room, I passed him, and just a line of women just surrounded him to take photos, and he didn't turn any one of them down.
He won't.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
does not. He does not have that in his ability. And he's always like delighted and tickled. He's not like, it's not like he walks away and goes, ugh, that was painful. Like we've seen people do that. I've seen people do that. He is not that guy. He is like he's a good one. He's a good one. Was Rebecca there?
No, she wasn't.
Oh, that's a shame because I know she loves BravoCon
Yeah.
so much.
No, but he was all over the place.
Yeah, he was like busy. He
Yeah.
was working.
And what was the envelope opening snafu that was all over Instagram?
Oh, so there was an award ceremony called
Yes.
the Bravos.
Yes,
And-
which we believe was ripped straight from our show. You can take it up with Andy. We used to have something called the Relly
Yes.
Awards, where we gave, because we would never win an Emmy, so we started giving awards to ourselves. And we called them the Rellies, and we would have like best guest walk on, best, best
chat moment.
best host chat,
Wild and wacky.
where we couldn't lose.
Right.
We couldn't lose.
Well, this year they were in the shape of the gay shark. And Teresa Giudice says, and the Oscar goes to.
Of course she did. Yeah, of course the Oscar goes.
It's so
to.
good.
God, Teresa is the gift that keeps on giving. She really is. All right. Let's get started, everyone. Okay. Everybody has these people in their lives. If you are listening to this, if you made it through our Bravo recap, there's a colleague that you work with that takes credit for everything, especially your work. That would be this. That's Jan's passive aggressive way of telling me that I take credit for her work.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
There's the date that ghosts you, the partner who gaslights you, the family member that makes every holiday a disaster. Oh, just the one, Jan? And that friend who loves to rally around you when you lose, but somehow is never there to celebrate your wins.
Yep.
How do we navigate these toxic relationships? Today, we have the expert, and I mean the expert. Dr. Ramani Durvasula is a clinical psychologist and the New York Times bestselling author of It's Not You. It's a must read, everybody. You got to pick it up. Pick it up, give it a Google, find it. Anyway, she's here. She's going to help us navigate through the world of narcissism. That's right. It's all over your Instagram feed. You know it is. Narcissism pages and stories of it. It's in everybody's feed right now.
It's in everybody's life.
It's in everybody's life. She's going to teach us how to navigate high conflict relationships. If you're calling about your boss, we can give you a pseudonym. You can remain completely anonymous.
Yes.
Anyway, let's welcome her now. Dr. Ramani, thank you for joining us. Hi.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to have this conversation with you ahead of the holidays.
Yes, it's more needed now than ever.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself. How did you get into this world?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into it. And I was geeking out on narcissism as a professor, and I got really interested in it there. So it wasn't like some grand personal quest. Ultimately, it became one. And then I was working with more and more patients who were going through these relationships. And I really went down the rabbit hole. And then one day I realized all we do is talk about the narcissistic people, but we don't talk about what happens to the people in these relationships. And that's what I've been doing ever since, for a long time, over 20 years.
It's incredible the way you sort of dole out your advice. Like I told you before, I'm constantly sending like clips of you to people I know that need to hear, like, oh, this is your situation. This is what you need to do. What are the biggest signs in, like, how do we spot a narcissist?
I wish it was easier, Kelly. And everyone's like, tell me the 5 red flags to look for. Because it's not just one thing. The big mistake people will say is, my friend blew me off for dinner. They're a narcissist. My boyfriend was flirting with the waitress. He's a narcissist. Maybe, maybe not. You can't just go on one thing. We're looking for stuff that happens over time. A person who is, you gave a lot of great examples, a person who's constantly competitive with you. They'll call you and expect you to be on the phone with them for hours, but the first time you call them and say, hey, I'm going through something, like, I'm really busy, I don't have time for this. Or you can hear that they're like crunching on their lunch or doing something else when you're going through something very real. These are people who are only comfortable in a relationship with you when they've got something over you. But when your star starts rising, they're either going to bring you down or they're going to insult you or make passive aggressive comments about it. These are the friends, partners, family members who are entitled. They're entitled to your time. They have entitled behavior in public. They're folks that don't ever really apologize when they do something bad. They blame you for, you know why I did this? Because you're a jerk to me. You know why I did this? Because I don't feel supported by you. You want to know why I cheated on you? Because you don't pay enough attention to me. But this stuff happens repeatedly over time. It's not a one-off. And trust me, by the time most people realize they're in a narcissistic relationship, they've probably been in it for a while. Unfortunately, the term has gotten so popularized.
People attach it to everything.
They attach it to everything. Like I said, one time a person is sort of not nice to them. Oh, they're a narcissist. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. So we have to be careful in how we use the word.
What, like, are there, to my understanding, there are different levels of narcissism.
Yeah.
Right? And is there a healthy narcissism?
I don't like the word. I don't like calling it healthy narcissism. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's sort of like healthy heroin. Like there's no such thing. You know, like it's bad. It's always bad for you. And so the reason I don't like the term healthy narcissism is because narcissism in and of itself contains these lapses in empathy, the entitlement, the grandiosity, the pathological selfishness. This stuff is never healthy. I think when people say healthy narcissism, they mean healthy ego. Like a person who says, you know what, I'm going to set a boundary on this one. You know, I can't keep coming over to your house 20 times a day to help you out. Or, you know, I can't, my kid's sick, so I can't do X or Y. So that's healthy ego, or asserting yourself, saying, you know, my opinion is this, and I know we don't agree on this one, but I really want to make my point of view known, but you're not insulting the other person. So I think that that's healthy ego. And I think we get into messy ground when we start talking about healthy narcissism, because the stuff that comprises narcissism isn't healthy in any form.
Do you, this is an interesting thought process that I was just, you know, sort of contemplating. When you are seeing a patient, okay? Mm-hmm. And they clearly are exhibiting all of the signs and symptoms of narcissism, do you tell them that?
Not out the gate. You know, it's definitely a bad conversation starter. Mm-hmm. It's a slow burn. You gotta sit with it for a while, right? Like I am, you know, no therapist is going to say, okay, this is it. They've said this one thing. We sit with it for a while. We look at our notes. We pay attention. Though I will say, I've had clients way back in the day, where it was going on long enough, I would say to them, yeah, you know what, this feels a little narcissistic-y. And they said, I thought you were going to say that. I've had clients come into my office and sit down and say, I'm a narcissist, fix me. You know, so there's some people who actually come in, they're kind of self-aware, they realize they're blowing up their life. We still don't make a ton of progress, but make a little. But I mean, I'm certainly not going to use the term with somebody who I know it's going to explode their head if I use it. Instead, I'll talk about, like, this thing you're doing is not, that sounds like that's going to be really hard for your wife. Or how do you think that other person felt when you said that? Usually they'll just get mad at me. It's hard work for a therapist. These are often clients that push back, insult. Definitely not the client you want to end the day with.
What is the best way that we should be dealing with a narcissist in our life?
Going into Thanksgiving.
Going into Thanksgiving.
I would say your best approach is wise and warm disengagement. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is, you don't have, I think that the temptation is to be just as cold, just as agitated, just as even at times mean as them. No, if you know what you're dealing with, you can disengage. And what I mean by disengage is, don't tell them the good stuff that's happening in your life. Don't tell them your problems. Just make the conversation about them, and pretend it's a really boring podcast and be doing something else while they're yammering on about themselves. And you can still be you, right? But you can't expect anything from this relationship, especially going into the holidays. Often you're only going to see this person a couple of times a year, and sometimes they're people you see all the time. The disengagement part helps, because if you keep going into this thinking you're going to get, this is the time they'll be empathic, this is the time they're going to be aware of me. No, it's like it's just dropping a bucket in an empty well. You're not going to pull anything back. So the more, we call it radical acceptance and radical awareness. The more you're aware of it, the less you engage with it. And that's really it. So you can just sort of politely nod. You can keep the conversation really superficial, and that's about it. But you don't want to get in the mud with them.
Talk to us about gaslighting, because that is a phrase that I am constantly being accused of misusing, but I really don't think I misuse it. But I think some of the people that accuse me of misusing it are the people I'm accusing of gaslighting me.
There you go.
They just don't like it.
Yeah. So gaslighting it's a form of emotional manipulation and at some level emotional abuse. So it actually it's not as simple as we think. If let's say you say to someone, let's say someone says, I loved that movie. And you say, well, that movie sucked. And they say you're gaslighting them. No, you're not. You're having a difference of opinion. And I think a lot of people confuse a difference in opinion or even lying with gaslighting, and it's not. Gaslighting is when you doubt the memories, the perceptions, the experience of another person. I never said that. That didn't happen. You didn't remember that, right? Okay, you couldn't be feeling that way. There's no way that you're hungry, okay? So you're completely denying their experience, and then you tell them there's something wrong with them. That never happened. Methinks you might have a memory problem, or what is wrong with you? Or you're so paranoid. You're so sensitive. So not only are you not remembering or seeing something right, there's something wrong with you. And that happens over and over and over again. It's called a double whammy. So you're told that you're not perceiving it right, you're not remembering it right, and then you're being told you're crazy. So that combo is gaslighting.
Yeah, Jen, I definitely have been using it correctly.
There you go. There you go. Good that you checked in on that.
I had a mild gaslight situation at work, and I was like, I think you're gaslighting me right now. So I'm
Gaslighters
glad
don't like
that
being called out.
Yes, I'm using it exactly correctly.
Yes.
Okay, we want to go to break, and then we're going to take all of your narcissism questions when we return. Stick around. We are back with Dr. Ramani Durvasula, of course, the clinical psychologist, New York Times bestselling author of It's Not You. We are talking all things narcissism. Jan?
Yeah, we have callers, but I just have a quick question. So going back to the concept of these friends who really, really, really love to be the best friend in the world when something bad's happening in your life. But then when like good things happen, it's kind of radio silence. So I definitely have experienced that. And I've created enough distance, like used to be super, super close, created some distance where it's not in my day to day, but there's something, I can't cut it off completely. What's that about? Like I can't completely end the relationship. And I find that to be super strange.
I don't know that it's strange. A couple of things here. They're showing up at the bad times probably for the wrong reasons, right? Because they're not there for the good times. In some ways, maybe they get some sense of superiority or some zhuzh from being the rescuer kind of person. Yeah. But what you're hinting at, though, Jan, is this idea of something we call the trauma bond. Right. So when the narcissistic relationships are what we call trauma bonded relationships. And so even when a person's like, this is not healthy, but I cannot seem to get out of it, it's often created by that alternation between good and bad. Like in many ways, we know it could be good again. We're worried what happens if we leave. Am I going to lose all my friends? Maybe it's a problem with me. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. There's a lot of mental processes we sort of go through. And you're in an interesting kind of a conundrum because it actually usually goes the other way. The narcissistic person is always up for a party, so they're around when you're having a good time, but when you're having a bad time, they're nowhere to be found because they can't be bothered to listen to your problems. You're in an interesting upside down there because they're there for, like I said, they're there for the bad times for all the wrong reasons, and then when something's going well for you, they're nowhere to be found. And so there's probably even a sense of, well, that's kind of nice that they're there for me. At least someone's listening to me when I'm going through a hard time. But that kind of that back and forth and that tendency to blame ourselves keeps everyone who is in these relationships feeling stuck and not being able to make a decision, not being able to get out. And Jan, you may not have to get out. This idea that if you're in a relationship, friendship, anything with someone narcissistic means you got to go, it actually isn't true. Some of these relationships can be navigated without you ending them or breaking up. You just need to realistically understand what the hell is going on.
Do you think that your friend is secretly happy when you're going through something traumatic?
I think they like to be, as you said, the savior. I think they like that role. I like that role. Should we go to calls?
Yes, let's go to calls. Okay, we've got, first up is Kelsey in Arizona. Kelsey, hi, you're on with Dr. Ramani.
Hey, and it's actually Kelsey. Like, I know you, Kelly. Like, I embarrassed myself.
Oh, Kelsey, sunshine.
It's me.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. I'm really glad you guys are having this conversation. Because this is like super applicable right now. So that's why I'm like, I have to call because it's like too real.
What's your question?
Okay, so my question is, like when you end up in these situations, in these like relationships or et cetera with a narcissist, when you're like someone who roots for people, like kind of painfully so, and then you kind of get like spun into like this place of like, wait, I don't think they realize like I'm trying to like see the best and root for them, but I think like they think they can like F with me a little bit. And like my context with that a little bit is like my like I was a foster mom to a little girl, and like that experience I was like really inundated with like a narcissist experience, and then like she went back to her biological family and I moved to New York to like start over, but I just moved back to Arizona 2 days ago because she needs me again, and now I'm back in this situation. And I guess that's why it's like heavy on my heart. Like when you're in this cycle of like wanting to root for that person, but then they think they're like pulling one over on you. Like how do you set that boundary to where you're kind but you're clear, so you don't just keep getting like steamrolled, you know?
So again, one thing I'm hearing in your question is, how do you have realistic expectations about somebody? Because that's what, it's sort of, it's the old Maya Angelou quote, right? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. This person is sort of showing you kind of who they are and how they go through the world for whatever reasons they go through the world. I don't even know that they're necessarily narcissistic, but all I know is I'm hearing that you keep getting burned. So just like, the first time we ever burn our hand on a pot on the stove, we often don't do it again. People are different than hot pots, right? We still go in because we believe in them or we believe we can work it through. But I think for you, it's just what I was saying before. It doesn't mean you have to walk away, but you've got to be realistic. You're rooting for someone, but it does feel like they're taking advantage of you, is what I'm hearing. You may still believe in them. You may still root for them. You've got to ask yourself whether you can be in a relationship with them with it and feeling like it's not balanced. It's not what we call, the word we use is reciprocal. It doesn't go back and forth. Only you know how much of that you can tolerate. And so I think it's the realistic expectations is you may not ever get it back from this person. They may not ever see what they're doing. And if you ever pointed this out to them, they may fully deny it. And that's when you feel gaslighted.
And I think there's also the added, this responsibility of being there for a child that you obviously love very much. And I think that adds a whole other layer of complication because you want to be there for the child, but you don't want to be taken advantage of by the other parties. Is that right, Kels?
Correct. Thank you. And I think that's what's so hard, like being put back in this situation. No, I'm choosing it because I'm going to choose her every time. But I think because of that choice, now I'm in this relationship again with this person who has been explained to me by other people as a narcissist. And I'm trying so hard to find that balance, is like finding love for them as, like her parent, but then like protecting her because it's like I can't see her keep getting hurt. And so it's like, how do I find that balance in showing love and compassion, because she is like her parent biologically. It's like, I think my kindness gets mistaken for weakness. And then it's like, no, I see clearly what's happening here. I don't know how to have that boundary to protect myself but then I need to protect this little girl, like Kelly said, for sure.
One thing I would say, Chelsea, don't get so lost in trying to find the love and compassion for this person who's been harmful to you. Center the child. That's what matters here. This child and centering them is everything. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be rude to that other person. But what you've got, you're putting a lot of energy in finding love and compassion for someone who's taking advantage of you. That is an unbalanced, unhealthy kind of a setup. Centering the child, great. But I think you can, again, really disengage from the parent. You don't want to be rude. You don't want to model anything unhealthy for this child. But it's, again, I think you feel this pressure to interact with that other person in the child's life. And that's not necessary for you to maintain a relationship with this child. You can really disengage from them. Doesn't mean you stop talking to them, but don't knock yourself out trying to do all this love, compassion stuff, because it's not only not going to come back to you, it often is going to get weaponized and used against you.
Kelsey, thank you so much for the call. I'll be thinking about you. I hope everything works out for you. Thanks again for calling in.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's go to Christine in Ohio. Hey, Christine, you're on with Dr. Ramani.
Hi, Dr. Ramani. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking my call. A big fan, Kelly and Jan and Albert. Longtime listener, first time caller. Okay, so
Thanks, Christine.
Dr. Ramani, you've been so helpful to my husband and I. So we have been co-parenting with a hybrid, malignant, communal, and grandiose narcissist for the past 17 years. Diagnosed, by the way. So my ex-husband and I have been split for 14 years, and it's been a lesson in survival. We shared 2 children. Luckily, his job takes him out of state and the country quite a bit, and during this time, the children are sort of out of sight, out of mind to him, but when he comes back with a bang. And my current husband and I have become experts in dealing with him, which includes not taking any child support from him because money is one of his ways that he controls people. Now, the problem is now that we've mastered these boundaries with him and disengagement, mostly thanks to you, he's now focused all of his narcissistic rage on our teenage children. So he verbally abuses them. He calls them horrible names. He cusses at them, ruins important occasions like birthdays and holidays. He takes away money for his share of their school tuition, things like this. And when they stand up to him, he lashes out. Then he love bombs them, and it's become this horrible cycle that I, of course, understand because I was a part of it and fell for it too. So my question to you is this. At what point do I just sit my kids down and tell them that their father is not going to get better? They know something is horribly wrong, and they are struggling emotionally. But do I simply tell them, look, your father is a narcissist, and he's not going to get better, with the understanding that he is incredibly litigious, he is incredibly punitive, and he is incredibly abusive?
Yeah, first of all, Christine, thank you for your question. I am so sorry for what you've gone through. This has been, I can't imagine what a long and difficult journey this has been, not only for you, but your second husband, your new husband, and your children. Not new. I'm sure you've been in this relationship for a while with him. So a couple of things. My answer right off the jump here is no. You can't tell the kids you think their dad is narcissistic. And you might wonder why, because wouldn't I then be giving them the keys to the kingdom? Because then they'll know what's going on. It can't come from you. Now, teenagers are clever, right? They can watch YouTube, they can find books, they can learn things, they can go on TikTok, they'll find what they need to find. But you're their other parent, and even kids feel loyalty even to the most abusive parent. That's what we've always got to remember. Even when a parent is harmful, a child feels some level of loyalty to them, even if they're scared of them. And when the other parent was to say anything negative about that parent, it becomes a challenge to loyalty. And adolescence is still young enough for that to sort of sit strangely with them. But and this is where I'm going to give you like a really thin edge to balance on. You also can't gaslight your kids. So you're never going to say to them, Dad's your hero, or Dad loves you, or Dad really cares, because that's also a bad bill of goods. And on top of that, you have this ex-partner who is, like you said, litigious and vindictive and all of that. The best thing you can do for them, Christine, number one, is listen. Listen, and don't feel like you have to solve. The biggest mistake we all make with adolescents is we try to solve stuff for them, right? They don't want the stuff solved. They want someone to listen to them, right? In many ways, they can come to the solution. They just need a safe sounding board. So you can be that sounding board, number one. Okay. Number two, you can then empathize and say, I am so sorry. That's a terrible thing to hear. You're not saying he's a terrible guy, or only a terrible guy would say something like that. You're saying that's a lot to hear. I am so sorry you're going through this. how can I support you? How can I be there for you? Okay. And then another thing I want you to keep in mind, Christine, is something I talk to people about all the time. I call it like a drone's eye view. You want to make a bigger view on this. Like, people can suck. Like, I am so sorry you're going through this. People suck is different than your father sucks. And what you're kind of communicating there quietly is like, this behavior, not okay, but not that your dad is not okay. Now, you may be wondering, Christine, what about that fine day my kids wander up to me and say, you know what? I was reading a book or watching a TikTok, and I think dad's narcissistic. It's going to be so tempting to grab that one and run with it. You're still going to have to hold some restraint, and you're going to say, that's interesting. Tell me why you think that. All right. And they're going to say, da 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 da, and say, you know what? If all this stuff is happening, this is a really, really difficult relationship for you. And it's hard because it's your dad. You do not want to get in the mud with your kids, right? But you want to be that empathic, safe place to land. And what you don't want is for this to ever become, yep, I know, I was married to it for all those years. He's a jerk. No. It's such an easy thing to fall into, but you don't want to do it, but you also don't want to gaslight. I'm kind of asking you to do sort of like, I'm asking you to juggle chainsaws while playing the piano. I know you can do it because you've kind of been doing it. And then you're going to have to give it time. I mean, I don't know how close your kids are to 18. They have that option at 18. If they say, I don't want to see dad this Thanksgiving, at 18, there's no more law overseeing that. And you can say, then you don't have to. Well, he's going to get mad, and you can validate that. Yeah, he probably is. There's no quick fix on this one, and your kids are going to suffer, and I hope they have access to good therapy, because having a severely narcissistic parent can really do a number on a kid, especially as they go into adulthood.
Wow. Christine, you got your hands full. Thank you so much for calling in. That was great advice, Dr. Ramani. Really great advice. Thank you so much, Christine. All of our best to you. Let's go to, is this real? Let's go to Andy Cohen in New York City.
Seriously?
Hello.
Hi.
How are we doing?
Are you home from Vegas?
I'm back from Vegas. I'm barely standing. I sound like you, Kelly. I was going to say I sound like Brenda Vaccaro, but actually,
Andy, do you have a question? Yes. What's your question?
I have a question about narcissists. I want to know, how do you fight with a narcissist and win? Like, is there any winning in getting, like, these narcissists, you know, when they come for you, it seems impossible. How do you get them? How do you win against them? Is there any way?
You know, Andy, it depends on what you're calling a win here, right?
Okay.
I mean, there's wins and there's wins.
I want to hurt them.
Right, you want to hurt them. Okay, well, that's a whole different conversation,
I want to hurt them. So, like, it seems like they are the hero and the victim of their narrative at all times. And I understand that, which means, to me, if you go back at them, they're the victim. So, like, how do you win? And
you know what you win? I'm going to tell you now is that I kind of hate teaching people the dark arts like this, but if you really do want to hurt them, you can't show any emotion, because the thing that gets the greatest gratification for a narcissistic person is when we get frothed up. Right. Because then they see they're getting that juice out of us, and they stay calm and we look like we're out of our minds. Right. That is the narcissist's power position. So to the degree you're not only disengaged, but even kind of look at them a little, if you can really communicate with your eyes and your face that you pity them, you've just won. Because there's nothing a narcissistic person hates more than the idea that somebody pities them or genuinely feels sorry for them.
Right.
And so if you can, and you know what, Andy Cohen, I am 100% confident that you can get that sneer down and really communicate that contempt.
Right. Okay. So it's that we feel, if anything, it's like, yeah, you know, I feel sorry for them, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and Andy, by the way, you are winning.
Right.
That's what you have to realize. That's what's ratcheting up. Anybody that comes for you in that way, it's because you're.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna ignore Donald Trump, and I'm gonna feel sorry for all the other narcissists that come.
No, you're gonna treat him with contempt. But Andy, the other thing is, a lot of people think that the win with a narcissist is that you've convinced them of something. I've got to convince them. That's where people really get lost. That's why I'm saying this kind of indifferent kind of contempt sprinkled with a little pity. That's the one.
Okay. That's good
Andy,
advice.
can you do that? Do you think you can do that?
I think that I can do that. And I think I've been doing that to a few of the people that are in my mind. And, just as the universe is dealing with this fucking monster that's running our country, I'm just thinking also of the collective people out there and how to deal with him. But that's another issue. But this is very helpful.
Andy, I feel like we need to have a phone call after this.
We'll have a side conversation.
Stay on the line.
We'll have a side conversation.
Andy, I have to get to commercial breaks. Your channel is making me go to commercial break right now.
I understand. Good. We got to make the money, honey.
Got to make the money. Thanks for calling in, Andy.
And I'm
I love
so
you too,
happy
honey.
to that's great advice. Thanks for what you're doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Bye-bye now.
Okay.
All right, don't forget to call in more with Dr. Ramani. Stick around. We are still navigating narcissism with Dr. Ramani. We are taking questions. Jan?
Yeah. Is there any connection between like narcissism and then addiction? Is that, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, the research shows actually quite a bit of overlap between the two. Now, that's not to say all addicts are narcissistic, nor are all narcissistic people living with addiction or using drugs, alcohol. But there's a lot of overlap, right? And what we end up seeing is that people who have the presence of both addiction and narcissism, they tend to feel much more entitled about it. They tend to make more excuses about it. And even when the person who's an addict and narcissistic gets sober, their sober is better than everybody else's. I'm the king of sobriety. So they're even
the most sober.
The most sober, which I think, it's supposed to be about humility and sobriety. So there's a greater risk of relapse when you see narcissism in play, because when something goes wrong in their lives, they often don't have the ability to cope with it. So there'd be more likelihood of sort of falling off the wagon, as it were. So, but there is a lot of overlap. And the challenge is, though, when the person's actively in the throes of addiction, it's almost hard to tell which is which. We can tell which is which when the person becomes sober, and we still see all of those narcissistic patterns.
Is there any thought process, and again, I don't know, that a person is trying to treat their narcissism with drugs or alcohol?
Absolutely, Kelly. Absolutely.
So they're aware that there's some sort of turmoil in there.
No, it's more like, I don't want to feel this way.
I see.
And so it's sort of like, so in other words, narcissistic people will use stimulants, like cocaine, and that means now you're a Superman, right? So there is that sense of like, now nothing can touch me now. And then when there's sort of having to deal with strong emotions about anything, disappointment or a breakup or whatever, there might be a tendency to use alcohol or something like that just to sort of numb out. Or even in some cases, believe it or not, grandiose narcissistic people tend not to be socially anxious, but more sort of covert, vulnerable narcissists can be very socially anxious. And so they'll often use alcohol to sort of smooth that out so they can feel more socially skilled. So they'll use it for a lot of ways to deal with discomfort. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's go to Lisa in Ohio. Lisa, hi, you're on with Dr. Ramani.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a little bit of a different victim. I've heard from a couple different people and where the narcissist was in their life. I'm a grown woman of a mother. My mother is full-blown all my life. Didn't even know what it was a lot of my life. I hate to say it, but it was such a mind F. I don't know if I can swear.
You can.
Classic, mind fuck. And my therapist says I'm a testament to survival. I am healthy, successful, an amazing mother, the opposite of her. She didn't win. I'm not her tragedy. I never turned to drugs or alcohol, thank God. But ironically, I have zero self-esteem, but you would never know it. Based on, I can't even take a compliment growing up with a narcissistic parent. But that being said, sadly, I know when narcissists can't control you, they want to control what everyone thinks of you. Well, unfortunately, she took my dad and has brainwashed him my entire life. Sadly, I don't have near the relationship with him I would have loved to have. Makes my voice shake a little. But I have been fighting this my whole life, and I can relate to everything you've said. And I still daily figure out if I'm going to call her, how do I get off the phone? If I have to, I get gaslit all the time. Provoke and blame, bait and switch. And the only reason I'm in touch with her and my father is because of my 10-year-old son, who I want to have a relationship with their grandparents. And my father is like best friends with my son. And he's a wonderful grandfather. But I've many, many times almost been to the point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I've read every book I could find, and my therapist always say there aren't that many because narcissists think it's everyone else's fault. They don't take responsibility for anything they do. And this has been going on my whole life. I'm in my 40s, and I just wondered if, just like some of the other callers, as far as dealing with a narcissist, because I have asked, is it a mental illness or is it a personality disorder? It's got to be one of the two.
I'm going to say this to you. First of all, Lisa, I am so sorry. And your story reminds me of what so many people who go through what you've gone through is, you had this very narcissistic mother. And, when you have a narcissistic mother, we often also see these patterns of victimhood and manipulation and withdrawing and withholding and abandoning or threatening abandonment. And when I say abandonment, I don't mean literally she's getting up and leaving the house, but like, I'm going to pull away from you and you're not grateful enough. And of course you can't take a compliment. If you took a compliment, your body feels like that's a dangerous thing to do. Like it's almost as though your mom's going to jump out and say, oh, no, you're wrong about that. So there's sort of this part of you inside of you, again, in your body it's not safe for Lisa to be seen in that way. But all of that said, I'm not a fan of calling narcissism a mental illness. I mean, again, we can't diagnose someone unless they actually spend quite a bit of time with a psychologist or psychiatrist or a mental health professional getting really, really carefully evaluated. And even then, it may take a long time to figure that out. It's a personality style. I think it's probably better to view it that way. And this personality style often can come out of a dark place. I don't know what your mom's childhood was like, but I'm willing to take a guess it may not have been ideal. And so the narcissistic personality style can develop out of those kinds of adverse childhoods, which can often leave people who are the adult children of narcissistic parents also feeling a little guilty. However, the majority of kids who grow up with adversity don't become narcissistic. So I don't know that it's fair to call it an illness or a disorder as much as it's a personality style where the person has this deep insecurity, it's a deep sense of shame, and this willingness to put themselves ahead of everybody else. And that's what they do. And they're not able to be self-aware about it. And if you point it out to them, they're going to rage at you. So there's no getting anywhere. But it would probably do you better to stop viewing it as an illness and more viewing it as this is who this person is. And personality doesn't change a lot over the course of a life. So this is kind of who she is. And it's done a lot of harm to you. It's hurt your relationship with your dad. You've been hurt in so many ways. Give yourself space for that hurt. But I don't want you to fall down the rabbit hole of making excuses for her by treating this as though it's an illness. An illness means that it's manageable, Lisa. When I hear illness, I hear therapy, I hear treatment. It's pretty, especially as deep an issue as you're talking about. I mean, even if you could get your mom into therapy, which doesn't sound like she even thinks there's anything wrong. She doesn't think there's anything wrong. Where's the motivation? Most people who have mental illnesses have a subjective sense that something's not right.
Do you have any advice for how Lisa can maybe forge ahead with her father in a deeper way, deeper level?
I would say, Lisa, what's amazing is that, first of all, I want you to take a minute, Lisa, and you want to reflect on how you've crafted this really strong adult life, for your son, in the world in general, that you're doing well. That's not easy. The hard thing is this idea of that you have this successful external piece, but still the struggling internal piece. I would say with your dad, it's keep showing up as you. Don't make your relationship with your dad trying to disprove what your mom said. Show up with your dad as you, okay? And then he will see it from time to time. Listen, he's interacting with your son, and it's very likely he sees some of you there. Your father might very well be trauma bonded to your mother. I don't know, because I don't know about their relationship. So it's even hard for him to see it clearly. He's been in it so long that he almost can't see it anymore. That your relationship with your father matters to you, both for your son and for yourself. So stay in it, but don't make it about disproving what she said. Show up as your wonderful Lisa self. That would probably be the best way, but understand there's a lot of grief here. A lot was taken away from you. And a lot of what was taken away from you is your sense of being able to believe in yourself. And that's where therapy makes a big difference. You are in therapy, so you're good. So Lisa, you're doing great. And I really thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Lisa. And Dr. Ramani, thank you so much for joining us. I feel like we need a second episode or come back once a month. Don't forget to pick up Dr. Ramani's book, It's Not You. You can find out about a membership to Dr. Ramani's network at dr.ramani.com. And I can't wait to talk to y'all off camera next week.
Good luck on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, good luck on Thanksgiving, everybody.
Roll up your sleeves.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, Dr. Ramani.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye now.
Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa is a production of Melojo Productions. From Melojo, our team is Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, Albert Bianchini, Jan Chalet, Seth Gronquist, Roz Therian, Devin Schneider, Michael Halprin, Julia Dash, and Team Radio Andy, Lisa Mantaneo, Scott Marlowe, Jake Getz.